Hey guys, Cody here with part 3 of the footprint tutorial in Unreal Engine 4. So where we left off is we got the sounds in, we got the basic footprints in, and now we want to work on tracking materials over to other materials. So for instance, if I was in the snow and I jumped over to this wood material, I would like the footprints to carry over some of that snow and really tie everything in and make it feel very immersive. Okay, so let's hop over into our third person blueprint. Okay, so in our third person blueprint, we're gonna go down to the footprint engine that we created, double click on the footprint function, and over here, right after spawn decal at location, we're gonna make a little bit of room. Just pull this off. And what we wanna do is we wanna, each time a footprint is placed in the world, we want that to be a unique instance of that footprint so we can change it and it won't change every other footprint in the scene. So how do we do that? It's pretty simple. Create dynamic material instance. And right there. Okay, so every time this fires off, it's going to create a unique instance of this decal material. So we can just connect these pins here. And then what we want to do next is pull off here and promote it to a variable. Connect up these pins. So now each instance that we create, we can now call upon or do something to it. All right, so we'll call this variable footprint material instance. Okay, so let's hop over into the event graph and we're going to set up some variables now. So we'll call this first one snow footprint color. And we'll make it a linear color. And this is going to essentially determine the footprint color when you walk through snow and the color that will be tracked onto other materials. So let's compile, save, and we can just make this white for now because it's snow. And we'll just pop it right here. Okay, now we're going to need to add a couple more variables. So we'll call this one new footprint color. And we want to set this, and we'll add another one called current footprint color. And we're going to want to set this as well. We'll just drag into here like this and pull off this guy. Okay. So this thing is going to be setting our new footprint color and our current footprint color whenever we want. So we do want to have our new footprint color applied instantly. So we want to have our current footprint color be applied at a later time. So let's add a switch. There are quite a few here. We want to switch on int. And I'm going to add a couple pins. I think about 4 or 5 will be good. Now each of these pins is going to represent a step taken. So we need to determine or power that. So we'll pull off of here and we'll promote the selection to a variable. And we'll call this snow footprint selection. So this will determine which footprint we're on at any given time. Okay, so what we're trying to do is set up the unique material footprint to be a different color on each step based off of this switch that we've created here. So, you know, if it's 0 and then goes down, maybe it fades out. You know, this could set the opacity or the color. You can really do anything here. So let's grab our footprint material instance and drag it out, which we created earlier. And we're going to pull off of it and set vector parameter value. Okay. And for the parameter name, we already set this up in our footprint material. So let's go see what it is. This is in our footprints folder here under foot underscore mat. And this is the vector that's controlling the base color. And it's called footprint color. And I'm going to change it with U so we're consistent. So I'm just going to control copy that name and pop it right into here. So now this is going to be controlling this at every time it ticks. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up the value, and we'll use a lerp to do this. Lerp is going to merge one color into another based on the alpha. So let's grab our current footprint color and our new footprint color. And then we need to promote this to a variable so we can control it. And we'll call it let's see here, footprint texture lerp. Okay. Cool. So now we can control this lerp, and it's going to set this material into this one based off of what this number is set to. So next we need to take that footprint texture lerp that we made, and we're going to be setting this for each of these outputs. So I'm just going to copy V it a couple times here. And I'm going to hook up the current footprint color at the very end to set that. So that'll kind of just make sure that it's setting the new footprint color after the fade has occurred. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our integer that we created earlier, snow footprint selection, and we're going to get it, and we're also going to be setting it, and we're going to add +1. So I'm just doing the plus sign here. Plugging it into here and throwing these guys into there. So each time these are fired off, it's going to add +1 to the integer number of snow footprint selection. So it's going to move down the list all the way until it gets to current footprint color. All right, let's compile, save, just so we don't lose anything. And now all we have to do is set these variable numbers here. So we're going to set it at 1 initially, 100%, and then 0.5, 0.3, and then we'll do 0.1. Actually, I'm going to make this one 0.2, and then to 0. So that should give us a nice fade, 1, 0.5, 0.2, 0.1 to 0. Okay, so now that we have that set up, we can go ahead and copy this entire section here and paste it for the other materials. And we can just hook it up like that. Then we're just going to have to swap out some of these variables. So we'll just start with the grass first. So let's see, we need the grass color. So let's do that. Grass footprint color. This is a linear color. Okay, and let's go ahead and set this color up real quick. Looks like it's already green. It's nice. All right, so we'll make it green, and we're going to set the opacity, which is the alpha channel, to 0 or 0.1, really low. And I'll show you why in just a moment. We're going to be controlling the opacity directly from this vector instead of the other variable that we set up before. All right, so we have the color set up. Now we need to do the selection. So let's add a, actually while it's set up to automatically select linear color, we'll just add the wood footprints color. Okay, now we'll do the footprint selection. Grass footprint selection. And this is going to be a integer. And we also need to set it up over here. And now we need to set it. And here's a cool trick. If you hold down, if you hold down the control key, you can drag all of these connections over to another pin. Saves you a lot of time. Okay, just connect that up and this one should be good. All right, so now let's head on down here. Add variable, and this is wood, so wood footprint selection. All right, and let's go ahead and set it. Again, holding down control, dragging up. And just replacing that, pulling this pin over. All right, so we're almost done. We just have to do one more thing, and that is every time a new material is set, we want to set the other material integers back to 0, so kind of like a reset. So there's a couple ways you could do this, but this is the kind of the most straightforward, and I'm just going to say whatever it is. So in this case, snow. We'll just grab everything that isn't snow and we'll set it. So set, and it's at 0 by default, and that's what we want it to be set to. Okay, so this one is grass, so everything but grass. And finally everything but wood. Okay, we just need to make sure we have our wood footprint color set up here at the correct alpha. Looks like I already had it set up, so that's fine. 0.1 is good. And we'll compile and save, and we just need to do one more thing, which is head over to the foot mat that we set up earlier. And we're going to take this footprint color parameter, and we're going to pull off the alpha pin and replace the footprint opacity. So now this opacity is going to control the entire foot material opacity. So we'll compile, save, and let's give it a test. So we'll jump over in the snow. Going to run on it a couple times to make sure it moves down that list. I'll jump onto another material, and it looks like it's fading off just how we want it. Awesome. Let's try over into the grass. Again, it's fading off nice and smooth. A little less smooth than the wood, so it might need some fine adjustment per material. But overall, I think the effect is pretty much where we want it. So now let's add a little bit of detail to it. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is add a texture object under texture. And I'm going to grab a noise texture. So I'm just going to type in noise, and Perlin noise works. You should have this if you have the default content stuff. Then we're going to pull off here and type in world aligned texture. Now this is going to make it each footprint have a unique use a unique portion of this texture to make it really random looking. And then we'll just pull off the XYZ and we'll multiply this into our opacity. Drag off into here, apply, and let's test this out. Gonna collect some snow. And now you'll see, it's kind of hard to see, so let's go ahead and drop down the lighting. I'm going to set this to 2, make it kind of dark. Now it should be a little easier to see. So now you can see there's some roughness in there, very subtle, very clean, and it's going to be random looking, so you won't see any kind of pattern going on there. So that's pretty much it for the footprint fading. Let's go back over into our third person character. And what I want to do is I want to clean up this a little bit. So let's pull off of this unique color. Actually, you know what? We'll just leave it in there. I'm going to go ahead and grab this entire thing and I'm going to collapse it into a function. Like so. Whoops, collapse to function. This will just make it a lot easier to navigate my third person blueprint. And I want to set this up to be commented, and we'll say footprint surface mechanics. And we can actually encompass this all into another comment, which we can call just footprints. And I'm going to color code a little bit. So let's see. We'll make this one yellow. And this one can be green. Okay. All right. So that'll just make it a little bit easier to see what's going on here and keep everything nice and organized. All right, so let's add one small detail here, which is going to be a sound every time the character moves, because something like cloth or chainmail or armor is going to be making noise every step, no matter what material you're on. So I'm going to hop over into the footprints function, and I'm going to add the sound directly here. So let's go ahead and find a good spot to add it. How about right here after set? Let's say right in between here. And you'll notice I provided 4 sounds. So this is kind of like a default mechanical move sound that I made. So we'll say sound at location, play sound at location. And we're going to grab this guy, which is called, what did I call this? Body step? Yeah, body step 1. All right, compile, save, and let me give that a shot here. Yeah, you can hear it's pretty slight, but that's going to be added in with the footprint sounds as well. So it'll really kind of layer in the sound effects. Like I said, you could use like cloth or chainmail or whatever to really kind of blend the sounds and, you know, create that immersion that you're looking for. So, all right, we got the default running sounds, we got the fading materials. So the last thing I want to show you guys is 3D footprints. I'm a little bit over on time, so I'm going to push it back to a 4th video. So stay tuned for that, and I'll show you guys how to do 3D footprints in tessellated snow. And I'll also show you guys how to do a particle effect to really tie it all together. So this has been the footprint fade. We've added some different texture stuff going on. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Again, my name is Cody, and I will see you on the fourth and probably final video for the footprint tutorial. See you next time.